How's it going? And welcome back to Chasing Victory with Ben Valiant and Jason Lee. I'm Ben Valiant, and that's Jason Lee. And today we have a Week 16 NFL recap for you, Jason. How's it going?
It's going good, man. Week 16 in the book. Some great games we're going to talk about. It's Christmas Eve. Tomorrow's Christmas. Happy holidays to everyone watching, and it's going to be a good year.
Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Indy. Let's jump right into it. What I would call maybe the game of the week. Eagles and Commanders in FedEx Field at Washington. The Commanders come out on top 36-33. Big time game from Jayden Daniels. Eagles had some quarterback struggles. Jalen Hurts went down with a concussion. Kenny Pickett had an X-ray a couple of days ago with something with his ribs. Jason, is the quarterback the defining factor from this matchup?
I'm gonna say yes and no. I feel like Jalen Hurts, if he played all four quarters of this game, I think it could have went another way, especially with the way everyone else stepped up. Don't get me wrong, Kenny Pickett did what a backup quarterback should do. He played a serviceable game, and they lost. But I feel like the Eagles. The quarterback concern for me right now is not as high as people think, because everyone's like, "Oh, Jalen Hurts went down with a concussion." Jalen Hurts went down with a concussion. You're still 12-3. You're definitely. I still don't see a world where you do not win the NFC East. So I think as long as Jalen Hurts is fine come playoff time, it's fine. I don't see a problem with the quarterback game right now. And, I think the Commanders, they needed this win. They really needed this win to prove all the allegations against, we can only beat bad teams. Well, you just beat the Eagles. No one can say that anymore. You beat a good team. Congratulations. Jayden Daniels played phenomenal. Despite the 2 interceptions, he played phenomenal. He led a game-winning drive, a successful game-winning drive. They went down the field. They won the game. And I honestly think the Commanders, they might go on the road round 1, but they're going to be a scrappy team in the playoffs for sure.
Yeah, they're definitely going to give you all they have. And they're definitely going to be a team that, they're no easy feat in the first round. You mentioned Jayden Daniels has looked pretty awesome this year outside of a game or two when he was coming back from injury. But besides that, their running backs are really good. They didn't do much in this game. I mean, Jayden Daniels led in rushing with 81 yards. But they have enough targets. They had 3 guys go above 50 yards receiving. That being Olamide, Zacchaeus, Terry McLaurin, and Diami Brown. That's enough to get you through. You don't have to have one guy that's going for 200 yards when you can have 3 that combine for close to 200 yards. They are very complete on offense. I don't think they have very many holes. Maybe their offensive line could get a little bit better, but outside of that, they're a good football team. And I think 10-5, it's a pretty accurate record for them. They did what their talent level says, and I think they're going to be a tough challenge in the first round.
They definitely are. I mean, here's the thing though, they are going to be probably the 7th seed, honestly, because the Packers are probably going to be in front of them. And whoever is second in the NFC North is going to be the 5 seed. So Washington's going to be the 7th seed probably. You're going on the road to play Philadelphia most likely. I honestly don't see a world where the Eagles are the 1 seed. I think it's honestly either Minnesota or Detroit in some way. But this could be the matchup we see first round of the playoffs in Philly. And if Washington plays the exact same way, regardless if Jalen Hurts was not there or not, Kenny Pickett stepped up. You still put up 33 points for the Eagles. So that really doesn't matter that much. If the Washington Commanders play the exact same way they played against the Eagles or early on in the season when they were beating teams that no one thought they were going to beat, the Washington Commanders could honestly make a playoff run if they keep playing the same way. And like you said, it doesn't really matter that no offense should just have a receiver that's just going for 150 yards and everyone else is pushed to the back getting 40. The Commanders, receivers, Jayden Daniels is spreading the wealth around. Jayden Daniels is getting everybody a chance, giving everybody that's open. Who cares? Who cares if Terry McLaurin's the biggest name on their biggest name pass catcher right there? He's obviously not getting like 150, 100 some yards a game that we're used to seeing, like Jamar Chase or CeeDee Lamb or AJ Brown getting every single week. Terry McLaurin is like not like stepping back, but like he's letting everybody else get a chance at the ball too. And that's the good thing about the Washington Commanders. It's not like their coaching staff's great. And I honestly believe it, if we see this match first round of the playoffs, Washington might steal it.
Yeah, I think they definitely could. And like I said, they're a complete team, and that includes the coaching staff. Dan Quinn is an awesome head coach, and he's great for a rookie quarterback. Jaden Daniels has done everything he needed to, and a lot of that is from Dan Quinn. The coach is a big part of a quarterback's success. So the Commanders this year, they're 10-5. They're gonna go on the road in the playoffs. They win. If they win, they're gonna get smacked in the second round, I think. Looking past this year, how much of this 10-5 season, and whatever it could be 12-5 when it's all said and done, how much of that is because the Commanders are playing a third place schedule, or are they a legit team?
That's a good question. Like everyone says, like, you know what, the Commanders are 10-5 because they finished third in the NFC East last year. No, the Commanders are 10-5 because everything worked, and Dan Quinn came in and he did some magic. He did it with Atlanta in his first year. He did it with Dallas. He turned that defense around. He turned Washington around. I don't know if it was the ownership, but he turned that ship around, and now they are a complete team, like we said. And I really don't think it's because they were third place. Sure, you know what? They're gonna get a second place schedule next year, and I honestly think if they keep playing the way they're playing, they're gonna be fine. They're gonna be 10 wins, 11 wins, 12 wins again. It's not really an issue. Like, don't get me wrong. I mean, things could change. Cliff Kingsbury could get a head coaching job. I don't see a world where Dan Quinn leaves. Somebody else, another team in the draft could potentially call Washington and say, "Here, we'll give you a boatload of picks for one of your top guys," and who knows? But that's far down the line. That's unpredictable. No one can predict that right now. But Washington, regardless of even if they were first place in the division, let's say they got let's say they win. Let's say they won this division this year. They get a first place schedule. I still think they can compete with teams like anyone. Like they compete with high caliber teams. They beat the Eagles. They competed with They competed with the Bengals. They competed with the Ravens. They competed with Pittsburgh. They competed with Philly the first time. They can compete. It's just a matter of if they can execute every single game, because I honestly think they can, and there's no problem. So it doesn't really matter who the Commanders play. It's just a matter of getting over that hump and saying, you know what, this year's not a fluke. We can do it again, and we can potentially win something next year.
Yeah, I kind of disagree with you because right now there's a lot of teams that need head coaches, and I could see Cliff Kingsbury getting a head coaching job. And when you're messing with a young quarterback's headspace, he's going to have to learn a whole new system, a whole new offensive coordinator's game next year. And that messes with him. I mean, we saw what Cliff Kingsbury did to Kyler Murray in Arizona. But playing a tougher schedule is definitely going to hurt them. I think they're still going to be competitive, don't get me wrong. They'll probably make the playoffs again. I just don't think they're going to be as successful because Jaden Daniels looks so mature this year. You see him leading down. That's his second game-winning drive that he led this year. It could have been his third if their kicker knew how to kick an extra point against Dallas. But the maturity level that I've seen from Jaden Daniels this year has been off the charts. Yeah, he's got to start sliding instead of taking hits when he runs. But in the pocket, he looks like he knows what he's doing. He looks like a seasoned vet. And that's something that's going to keep them in contention and keep them in competition for playoff spots in the future. Because quarterbacks win football games. That's one of my favorite sayings for football. Quarterbacks win football games. And if you have your quarterback, you still need to put the pieces around him. But you have such a head start if you have the quarterback that can win you football games.
So you think that they won't repeat the same success they did this year?
No, not the same success because I think Cliff Kingsbury gets a head coaching job and they play a tougher schedule, but they'll still probably be an 8-9, 9-8 team.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. I mean, like I see where you're coming from, but like this team, no one thought this team was going to be that good. Everyone thought it was going to take 3 seasons for for them to find the right coach, to find the right ownership, to find the right quarterback, to find the right everything with Washington, and it worked. So you're saying that this year Jaden Daniels has matured already, and he's not going to repeat the same success he did this year?
He's matured, but there's so many other factors that go into it. I know I said quarterbacks win football games, and Jaden Daniels does win football games. That's why they'll still sneak into the playoffs. They're just not going to be as good this year. Like when you factor in that their strength of schedule, they're obviously going to take a little step back. It's not going to be like they're knocked out of the playoffs or anything. Like he's still going to show the maturity Jaden Daniels that is, and he's going to lead the team to the playoffs. They're just not going to be as good as they are this year.
Wow. All right. Sorry, Commanders fans that watch the show. I mean, all right, you know what? The schedule is not set in stone, meaning like who plays who which week. But yeah, teams you're playing right now, if the season ended right now, you're playing at the Packers, at the Chiefs, at the Chargers, at the Vikings, home against Detroit. Okay, I see where you're coming from. It's a pretty rough schedule, but I don't see why not. They can compete. Who knows what Detroit does next year? Because guarantee you now that Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson are getting head coaching jobs. They're gone next year. Whether Dan Campbell, whether their ownership likes it or not, they're getting head coaching jobs. They're going to take that money. So who knows with a team like Detroit what they're going to do next year? Who knows what a team like the Packers is going to do next year? Are they going to repeat the same success they've had this year? Are they going to? Who knows what the Chiefs are going to do this next year? Anything is possible. But I honestly do not see a world where the Commanders, where this year was a fluke, and they go like they regress. They're not going to regress next year. I'm going to say that flat out. They're not. There's no way they do, because if this team stays, let's say Cliff Kingsbury stays, Dan Quinn stays, Jaden Daniels has the same success. This team stays. No one comes in. No one comes out. If this team stays, they're going to have the same success as this year. No doubt about it.
And I agree with that. But one of the biggest parts of this thing, this plan that I have is I think Cliff Kingsbury gets a head coaching job. I mean, we've seen him as a head coach in the past. I would not be surprised if a team just wants somebody who's been a head coach. He didn't have too much success, but to give him another chance.
Give him another chance. He was a terrible head coach. He had like one decent season. And then he was a terrible. But
now they've seen what he did with this Commanders offense and Jaden Daniels.
He's a better coordinator than a head coach. Like, I mean, sure, he's going to get a head coaching job, but that's the thing. Life goes on.
He's getting a head coaching job, and he won't be on the Commanders. It doesn't matter how good of a head coach he is. It just matters that he's out of Washington.
Life goes on. Jaden Daniels will move on. I'm telling you. Jaden Daniels is going to take everything he's learned.
I've seen it as a Giants fan too many times. How many offensive coordinators did Daniel Jones have?
Oh, okay, we're talking about Jaden Daniels and Daniel Jones here.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like you see Trevor Lawrence. How many coordinators? Trevor Lawrence is on his second head coach. All these guys that have 2, 3 head coaches, 2, 3 offensive coordinators, it messes with their headspace. They are not the same when they have to deal with different systems so early in the career. It doesn't work. And why is Jaden Daniels an exception?
Why is Jaden Daniels an exception? Because Jaden Daniels is that freaking good. There's a difference. Trevor Lawrence wasn't that good his rookie season. Daniel Jones wasn't that good his rookie season. None of these guys were good their rookie season. Patrick Mahomes didn't even play his rookie season. Lamar Jackson wasn't that good in his rookie season. Like, everyone wasn't that good in their rookie season. Jaden Daniels is an exception because Jaden Daniels is one of the rare quarterbacks this year that I can see in the future is going to be elite. He's going to get, I don't care how much money, he's going to deserve it. Jaden Daniels, who cares if Kingsbury goes? He's gone, whatever. Life goes on. Jaden Daniels still is, if Jaden Daniels still has the same quarterbacks coach, we're fine. That's someone he's worked with. Who cares if a new offensive coordinator comes in? Jaden Daniels is that guy I can see. He's going to adapt right away. And I don't see a problem with Jaden Daniels and a new offensive coordinator.
I think there is a problem. I mean, it's just these young quarterbacks, it's always a struggle. It's not Jaden Daniels' fault. It's just the nature of the sport. Jaden Daniels can't do anything to help it. He can work with the offensive coordinator as much as he wants. He could work with Dan Quinn, and he could be on the practice field every day with the coordinator. It doesn't work. We've seen it time and time again. I can't recall one situation where a young quarterback, second, third year, got a new offensive coordinator, and they just took off. What if the new offensive coordinator doesn't coach like Jaden Daniels wants? What if he doesn't let him get out of the pocket? What if he makes him a pocket passer? That's not going to work. And then on the other hand, Jaden Daniels can't only run. He's not Lamar Jackson. So there's got to be like Cliff Kingsbury is the perfect head coach or perfect offensive coordinator for the Commanders. He coached Kyler Murray, who's a similar-esque player to Jaden Daniels, and he took that knowledge and he brought it to the Commanders. I know he wasn't good in Arizona, but as a coordinator in a lesser role, yeah, he's a good coordinator and he's going to get a head coaching job.
I feel like if whoever comes to Washington as the offensive coordinator next season, if there is one, I feel like they're going to have to adapt to that play calling style that they were used to last year. But let me say this, okay? So you don't think Jaden Daniels, if Cliff Kingsbury goes, right, is going to repeat the same success, right?
Not as much. He'll still be successful.
Okay, let me ask you this. Let's say next season Sean Payton is fired from the Denver Broncos. Do you think Bo Nix? So okay, if it does, let's just say it does. Is Bo Nix?
It doesn't make sense. It won't happen.
No, but let's just say in a hypothetical world, you're talking about a bond the coach and quarterback have. Is Bo Nix going to be terrible next season because Sean Payton's not there anymore?
He might be, yeah. But Sean Payton won't get fired because he's a good head coach. And the Broncos are going to make the playoffs. That's
not what I'm saying. I'm saying you're talking about the bond that a quarterback and coordinator or coach share. So let's just say hypothetically that a guy like Sean Payton gets fired for no reason. Does Bo Nix not repeat the same success he's had this season?
No, he doesn't.
Okay, fine. Whatever. We'll see.
All right, let's move on to the next game of the week that we have for you. We go Seahawks and Vikings. That one's out in Seattle. Vikings take it 27-24. I think this was kind of a defining game for the Vikings. I mean, it was tight the whole way. The Seahawks are going to be might be a playoff team, might sneak in as a wild card. And I thought the Vikings stood up to the challenge, and they came out on top.
You know what? I'm going to say this flat out. You know what? I'm going to say this, and I'm going to stand by it. The Minnesota Vikings will be the number 1 seed in the NFC. I stand by that 1,000%. The Minnesota Vikings will be the number 1 seed, and here is why. You know what? Your biggest competitor right now is the Detroit Lions. Flat out. Who knows where let's get the Eagles out of the way right now. Jalen Hurts has a concussion. Jalen Hurts might not play on Sunday against the Cowboys. The Cowboys might win that game. It is highly possible that Jalen Hurts is not there. That means Kellen Moore is going to slip through the cracks with his play calling, and they're going to blow that game. The Lions are banged up. The Lions, their injury list on offense, on defense, is literally impossibly long that you cannot even imagine. No script writer could have cooked that up. How many players are injured on the starting lineup for the Detroit Lions? It's insane. I don't think they're going to adapt. The Minnesota Vikings, they're here, they're healthy, they're ready. Sam Darnold, I don't know where this Sam Darnold was 5 years ago when he got drafted, but he's repeating that same success he's had in college. He's got Kevin O'Connell as a phenomenal head coach. He's got the offense working around him. It was supposed to be J.J. McCarthy. I honestly don't think J.J. McCarthy, as good as he was in college, sure, he won the national championship. Who cares? J.J. McCarthy would not have the same success Sam Darnold had with this team. I'm telling you that right now. The Minnesota Vikings would not be 13-2 with J.J. McCarthy or anyone else other than Sam Darnold right now. Sam Darnold was the right fit, and Sam Darnold, who knew? Look at that. And the offense is clicking, and you know what? Who cares? Week 18, the Minnesota Vikings are going to march into Detroit, and they're going to win. They're going to win because they are the better football team right now. They look the best. They look like the best team. You know what? Screw what everyone says the Lions are the best team in the NFC. They are the best team in the NFC. And you can make an argument that the Minnesota Vikings consistently, with the exception of those 2 games, who cares they lost to the Lions? Who cares that they lost? Who's the other team they lost to? Let's see. Who was the other team they lost to? The Rams. Okay, the Rams game was a fluke. Who cares? They lost to the Lions week 5 because they should have lost to the Lions week 6 or whatever it was. You know what? Minnesota Vikings are the best. They look like the best team in the NFL right now. You know what? Screw Patrick Mahomes. Screw Josh Allen right now. I can make an argument that the Minnesota Vikings are the best team in the NFL right now. And you know what? They've been playing like it, and they're going to continue to play like it. They're going to give the Packers a competitive game. They're going to beat the Lions. They're going to be the number 1 seed in the NFC, and they are going to make at least the NFC Championship game. That is how good the Minnesota Vikings are. Done.
You know where Sam Darnold was in the Jets? His head coach got fired after his rookie season. Todd Bowles got fired after Sam Darnold's rookie season.
Okay. And I'm saying Sam Darnold has not repeated the same success in the NFL as he did in college. Though this is college Sam Darnold we're looking at, and Sam Darnold's been playing elite right now.
He's looked awesome. And you know what? He was in Kyle Shanahan's system last year, and then he's gotten to another quarterback whisperer in Kevin O'Connell. He's had tremendous coaches these last 2 years. And the thing is, he might be a system quarterback. We don't know. He's got Aaron Jones. He's got TJ Hawkinson. He's got Jordan Addison. He's got Justin Jefferson. He's got all these guys. He's just got to sit back in the pocket and make the right reads. I know it's easier said than done, but Sam Darnold is doing it at a high level. And he's just doing what he has to. He's not trying to do too much, and he's not doing too little. He's doing exactly what the Vikings need them to do, and that's why they're so successful. It's because of Sam Darnold and what he's done in Kevin O'Connell's system. But the other thing I've seen, like, the Vikings defense is ridiculous. It feels like every game they're getting a turnover late in the game, and they're running down the field. They're doing some kind of ridiculous celebration. Their defense is so good, and it's going to be a problem come playoff time. And you know what? I'm starting to trend towards what you were thinking, that the Vikings are going to get the number 1 seed. But I just don't know. The Lions have just found ways to win. I mean, they lost to the Lions. That's a game you can lose to. Like, you can live with losing a game like that. The Vikings, I don't know. I just feel like the Lions are better. They're more well-rounded. I know they have so many injuries. It's going to be so tough of a task to beat them. Even if they do get the number 1 seed, it's going to be such a tall task to beat them in the playoffs.
I don't know. Who knows? Like, everyone says, like, oh, so-and-so's coming back. So-and-so's coming back for the playoffs. So-and-so will be back for the Super Bowl, for the NFC Championship game. Yeah, you have to get there with the team you have. And I honestly don't think, who cares? Dan Campbell, like, good for you. Like, you're investing all this positivity. And you know what? Let's all be positive. You know what? We're gonna get through this. We're all a family here. That's not gonna win you anything in the playoffs. Dan Campbell is a phenomenal head coach, but it's honestly the success of the Detroit Lions, the reason they're putting up these egregious amounts of points, at least 30 a game, it is because of the way the coordinators are playing the offense and the defense. Aaron Glenn, regardless of the 20 injuries on the Lions defense, is doing a phenomenal job. Ben Johnson's doing a phenomenal job. Who cares if David Montgomery's out? That wasn't a problem. Granted, you played the Bears, but that really wasn't a problem. Jahmyr Gibbs ran the show on his own, and he did it. He did a great job. But honestly, you know what? It's all about who's the more complete team when these two play. Week 18, the Vikings are coming, and the Vikings are coming with a vengeance. And the Vikings are going to win that football game because they are the more complete team.
It's so tough. It's such a toss-up. These 2 teams are so neck and neck. If the Lions were healthy, they'd be better by a lot. But I'm so excited to watch the Vikings defense play against that Lions offense. I know they're so injured. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs is the perfect person he's the perfect person to have a spotlight on him now that their other running back is done. He's so good. They've got their receiving core hasn't been taxed too much. I mean, they still have Amon-Ra St. Brown. For all we know, he might be playing with an injury. He would be the type of guy to play through something like that. We saw it last year in receiver. They're just so good all around. Their defense is solid. They're stepping up They're stepping up. They're manning up. It's the next man up mentality, and they're doing what they have to do. The Lions, they're still finding ways to win football games. I mean, they beat the Bears. They beat them by a good margin of victory, but like I don't know. It's the NFC North is such a toss up right now, and it will decide the number one overall seed because the Eagles aren't getting it at this point. But let's transition to the Seahawks' point of view on this game. As losing this game drops them down to 8-7, and then if you're gonna look at the standings with the Rams, because this is a highly this is a big matchup for the Seahawks going into it. As far as playoffs go, in the division, the NFC West, the Rams lead 9-6. The Seahawks are just a game behind at 8-7. How difficult is it going to be now for the Seahawks to come back? Because their schedule, the rest of the way, it's the Bears and then the Rams week 18.
How difficult is it? Well, you know what? It's impossible because you know what? Seattle is not going to make the playoffs. Seattle's not winning this division. As long as the Rams keep playing the way they've been playing, they've been on a tear recently. They were what? Correct me if I'm wrong. They were like what? They started off 0-2. They were like 2-5 at one point.
They were 2-4. Oh no, they were 1-4. They were 1-4.
1-4, and now they're what? 8-5, 8-2.
9-6.
They were 8-2 since being 1-4. Like, look at that. This Rams team is complete. Everyone's healthy. Everyone is going to remain healthy, hopefully. And you know what? The Rams are obviously my a lock for this division. Like, Seattle is a good team. I mean, don't get me wrong. They had some good moments. But you know what? Let's say they have the same record. Let's say that the Seattle Seahawks and the LA Rams finish with the same record. They're going to go by and you know what? If they have the same record, they're going to have the same record in the division as well. And you know what? They're going to go by the NFC. They're going to go by the win totals in the NFC. And the Seahawks have a loss to the Giants. If you look at their schedule, the Seahawks have a loss to the Giants at home. That is not the team that is going to make the playoffs. You're telling me that the Seahawks are losing games to the Giants? They're losing games. They're losing close games because the offense cannot get it together. Geno Smith completely botched that pass on the last drive of the game. Like with Seattle, I feel like they're always there. They're always there when they're losing in close situations. They're always there. They always have the ball last. They always get last lecks of the ball, and they can't do anything with it. It's a joke. It's a joke. You cannot tell me that no one on that team is stepping up. No, everyone's slipping through the cracks. Their coaching is slipping through the cracks. This is why they're a game back, because you know what? This game right here, slipping through the cracks. They lost the last two. They lost the last two against NFC teams. You know what? That is honestly going to hurt them in the when they decide who wins the NFC West, because the Seahawks have to go to play the Bears. You know what? Granted, I honestly think the Seahawks can win that game, and the Rams have to go play. Let's see, Rams. Who we rocking, Rams? Rams got to go play the Cardinals. I honestly think Arizona's eliminated. The Rams can take care of business there. So there you go. Now Seattle would be still back one game, but now they got to go play the Rams in LA. And I honestly think the Rams, compared to Seattle, is night and day. And I think the Rams will easily win this division.
Yeah, I think the Rams are a lot better of a team, and the defining moment of their season was when Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua stepped on the field at the same time. Once that happened, and then you combine that with Kyron Williams, their offense is special. They've got Matt Stafford, an aged quarterback who, like Sam Darnold, he just has to sit back there and sling the ball around because he's got guys that are going to make plays. He's got Tyler Higbee back there. I know he's not what he once was, but he's serviceable. The Rams offense is so good, and I just don't. The Seahawks haven't been good enough. They haven't taken that next step for me. And if they want to do that, they've got to win out. And I think, and especially they've got to beat the Rams week 18. I don't even care if they make the playoffs, because a lot of that is out of their hands. They need the Rams to lose at least one game, probably two. But but like if they win against the Rams and they beat the Bears they should beat. But if they beat the Rams, that shows me like they can be a playoff team. They messed around and they didn't do it this year, and it's a shame because they're a good team. But I don't know, they have talent all over the field, and they just didn't know how to utilize it this year. First year head coach, it is what it is.
Yeah, you're right. And it's one of two divisions this year, specifically in the NFC. It's one of two divisions. We'll get to, I'm assuming our next game is going to be Dallas and Tampa Bay if we talk about that. But we'll get to that game maybe. But, this is one of two divisions where it's you win the division or you're not going anywhere. This is not, this is not like the NFC East or the NFC North where, more than one team's getting into the dance. This is either you win the division or you're sitting on the couch for the rest of the season. So I honestly think the Rams, you know what? I just think the Rams are completely better. They're better, well-rounded. Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua came in, and now the Rams are looking elite. The Rams are looking like the Rams that should be playing at the highest level that we expected them to play at the beginning of the season. I had the Rams going, I think, winning 12 games because I had them competing directly with the Niners, but the Niners fell flat. But the Rams started shaky. They were 1-4, but now look at them. They're 9-6. Potentially they could finish at 11-6. That is unheard of. That a team started 1-4 and finished with 11 wins. That's unheard of. And that's all on the success of Matthew Stafford. That's all on the success of Sean McVay. It's all on the success of the entire Rams organization that have stepped up in every single game.
Matthew Stafford up around 3,600 yards now. After he played those first 5 games with no receivers. It was either one of Cooper Kupp or Puka Nacua, and then at that point, the one that was playing would get double teamed and they would kind of get taken out of the game. But when they're both out of the field, and that's the luxury of having 2 top end receivers, you could just spread the ball around. They can't double team one, and they can't double team both. Rather, it's so much fun to watch an offense like that. And their defense is good enough too. Their offensive line is good. They have a rookie center. They're a good team. So like you mentioned, let's get to the Cowboys game. It'll be the last one of the episode. Cowboys win after being eliminated 26-24. We got a Cowboy fan on the show, Jason. What do you think about this win?
Where was the heart? Mike McCarthy said after this game, "Oh, you guys played with so much heart and determination." Where was that from weeks 2 to 15? Where was that? I'm struggling, man. I mean, you know what? A win is a win. I honestly don't know what that entails. Who cares if we win out? We go 9-8, whatever. But you know what? It's all going to matter on the future of the Dallas Cowboys, what we do in the future, especially with the draft. I honestly think you have to get Ashton Genty if he's there. But I don't know if what Jerry Jones wants to do. He's probably going to draft an O-lineman. But enough of that. They won. They looked good. And you know what? Cooper Rush is slowly finding his footing, maybe.
Do you want him to, though?
Preferably not. Preferably not. But, Cooper Rush is looking fine. Rico, the run game's looking okay. But again, we need the run. We need a running back. CeeDee Lamb's still the leading receiver. The defense looked great. They had some great takeaways. But you know what? They're not anywhere near a playoff picture right now. So you know what? Let's transition to the other team. Ouch. Wow. All right. You came off of a 40-17 blowout of the Chargers, and now you lose to Dallas? Ugh. Everyone's saying now that the Falcons, Michael Penix played one game, they blew out the Giants. Falcons are going to win the division, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know. It's such a hard thing to say because the Buccaneers, sure, they lost to Dallas. Sure, they lost a crucial game. Sure, they're the same record as Atlanta, which, in fact, if they finish with the same record of, I don't know, whatever it is, they finish with the same record. Atlanta has both games on Tampa Bay, so Atlanta would win the division. So here's the problem with that for Atlanta. Tampa Bay has been given a gift. Their last 2 games are both home. Their last 2 games are the Panthers and the Saints. Atlanta's last 2 games are the Commanders and the Panthers. That is the gift Tampa Bay has been given. Now, if the same Tampa Bay team that went into Dallas plays the same as they do with Carolina or the Saints, they're going to lose. They're going to lose. This is not the same team. Granted, they blew out the Raiders. Granted, they blew out the Chargers. But granted, they beat the Lions. They are one of the Lions' 2 losses. No one ever talks about that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are one of the Lions' 2 losses. Look at that. But this cannot happen. Baker Mayfield, sure, the turnovers, the drops, that's not on him. But you know what? Baker Mayfield cannot be throwing up risky passes in single coverage where, you know what? Jalen McMillan's down there somewhere. We're going to pray that he catches it. Nope, Jordan Lewis took it away. Baker Mayfield's under pressure. He's going to run in, pitches into Rachaad White. Rachaad White gets down, and the ball is in Deron Bland's hands. The ball game is over. This can't happen. You're given extremely a good advantage because you're playing the Saints and the Panthers your last 2 games. Atlanta's got to go to Washington. And who knows what game if Atlanta I don't even think Atlanta's going to win that game. I don't think Michael Penix is ready to face Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders, especially when the Commanders are trying to hold on to that playoff spot. Again, this is the same division like the NFC West. It's division or you're out because you have to pray that the Commanders almost lose. The Bucs have to pray that the Commanders lose to the Falcons just so they have a chance at getting in, because the only way any team from the NFC South, other than the divisional winner, the second team in the NFC South, the only way they get in is if the Commanders finish at 10-7, which honestly I don't think is going to happen. So Tampa Bay, you got to wake up. Tampa Bay's got to wake up. And I honestly think, you know what? It's honestly a possibility that the Atlanta Falcons can win the division.
Yeah, I think the Bucs, Santa came down the chimney a little early, left them a Christmas present in playing the Panthers and the Saints last 2 weeks. They absolutely have to go in there and beat the brakes off both teams. After losing to the Cowboys, that is an awful loss this late in the season. I think Jaden Daniels and the Commanders will take care of business against the Falcons. If they go in and they win out, they will make the playoffs as the NFC South Division champs. It's set. It's perfect. It's lining up absolutely perfect for the Bucs. Baker Mayfield just has to go in there. He's got to play his game. He's got to get his swag, whatever his Tommy DeVito dance, and he's just got to go in there and beat the Falcons and the Saints. And there's no other way around it.
Yeah, there is no other way around it. It's a gift, like you said. Merry Christmas, Tampa Bay. But here's the problem. Atlanta, their defense looks phenomenal. Their defense is scary. Who cares? Michael Penix played 1 game. Michael Penix played fine. That interception was not his fault. Everyone says, oh, Michael Penix didn't have a touchdown. Yeah, Michael Penix would have had a touchdown if Kyle Pitts didn't pull, the Bobby Boucher and the water boy and just flip it to the other team. That's the problem. Kyle Pitts gave that ball to the Giants. So here's the thing. Who knows? Michael Penix looks fine. The offense looks fine. Kirk Cousins is gone, and Kirk Cousins, I honestly think, is off the Falcons next season. And
he's going to get cut 100%.
That will probably be one of the biggest mistakes, giving Kirk Cousins $150 million just to let him go the next season because he's not playing at his full potential. They brought him in to be a leader, and Kirk Cousins is a turnover merchant. Michael Penix comes in. He's looking fine. The defense looks phenomenal. And honestly, you know what? If the Falcons win on Sunday against the Washington Commanders, there's your division. If the Washington Commanders lose, Falcons win the division, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are sent home. That is it.
Yeah, 100%. So much playoff predictions and previews, and just clinching scenarios. They're coming up soon. Over the next couple of weeks, we'll have content here every Wednesday and Saturday. But for now, I'm Ben Ballion. That's Jason Lee, and you listen to Chasing Victory with Ben Ballion and Jason Lee.